Hello YouTubers, welcome to my channel. In this video, this is day 3 and 4 of my amazing gate build. You're going to see me do the archway, cross brace and the tongue and groove. Roll the cues. So in episode 1 you saw me design the gate, build the gate frame, start building the archway and lots of other stuff. Link is in the description below for this video. Now let's get on with episode 2. Hope you enjoy it, hold tight. Welcome to today's filming of Mark's Gate, day 3 of this exciting build. It's the 11th of September. Day 3. So did quite well yesterday. Today we're going to put the tongue groove on. I'm going to do the archway because that would have where's the archway? Right, come with me. This is the archway. Okay, using my new, oh I love this, my random orbital sander Makita, about 90 quid, 18 volt, love that. Do a review on that in the future. Clamp that, so we'll do the archway today and take the clamps off. So remove the clamps because this was slightly, because it's pressure treated wood and I've not got a thickness of planer, we had to clamp it because that one was slightly twisted, but we got it lovely and square. You can see where I filled the bits with gaps with sawdust and glue. That'll sand off. I gave it a quick sand yesterday, so it's starting looking more like a gate. It's bloody strong. So today we're going to tongue and groove it, do the arch, cut the arm work out of the old gate, and cut a reveal in there hopefully to allow for the expansion and the contraction of the tongue and groove. This time of year moisture content's low in the wood, so you've got to allow that it's going to expand over the winter, probably by a couple of mil. So when I fit it I'll allow a summer gap. If I was fitting in the winter and the wood was really wet, I would then fit it fully with just the recommended gaps because it would shrink back in the summer. It's hard to tell sometimes with humidity and stuff, but I got my moisture meter in. This was at 15% as I said yesterday, so I've sanded this. If it had been winter and the wood had been really wet and the customer wanted it very quickly, I would just do it as we've said, fitted it with the maximum fitting, and allow the gap to shrink back in the summer, let it silver a bit over the winter, and as the sun gets to it, it would react with oxygen, and then I would be able to paint the customer's fence next year. That's how I do it. But this has been dry, it was in Worx, it wasn't fresh wood stored outside, and we haven't had a lot of rain. There you go. So I'm just going to get set up now. Remove this clamp, it's all glued, and the exciting bit starts. Hold tight. So here you can see me removing the clamps. I clamped it up because the rails were slightly twisted. Wow! So the clamps are off. So just going over it with a 120 grit orbital sander, my new Makita sander. Always sand as you go, it saves getting in the nooks and crannies. So this is the archway, it's going to get sanded, and then I'm going to do a template. So a template is a shaped piece of rigid material used as a pattern for processing, such as cutting out, shaping or drilling, and this is what I'll be using to do the archway on the top of the gate by using OSB and then routering it into the 4x2 that are glued together. You'll see this as this progresses. So the fun bit, I'm making the archway. So what I've done here is I've cut the OSB to the exact width of the archway, so I've got it above the gate, so the exact width against the rails. That was the rough template cardboard, okay? So what I've done, a bit of OSB 18mm pattern to get it perfect now, ready to scribe out. What I've done is a bit of batten, okay? Now it's important that the fulcrum of it is always at the bottom of this, otherwise it will change there. So I use a small drill bit, okay? I then drill through there, and this is my fulcrum point, okay? So you put that in there, you mark a dead straight line in the centre, that's my end point there. This is too wide, but I didn't need to cut it, you'll see later. So I insert my drill in there. Okay, I've drilled a bigger hole for my lovely tracer pen. Love these. that goes in there, and then you draw the line across, okay? Then you drill another hole further down. It has to be dead centre, so you drill the hole so you can peer through the hole to make sure you stay dead centre with your drill bit and your pen in, draw another line, and that now is where I'll be cutting that out with the jigsaw, and I'll be using that to router my archway for the gate. I hope that makes sense. So next we'll cut a drip edge on the top of the rail. So I've drawn how I'm going to cut the top, because you need water to run off. You don't want water sitting in the end grain. So I'm cutting, so I measured the centre. I should have videoed this but I forgot. Measured the centre, visually looked at the height I want the arch. This is where metal work's going in. So I've drawn down, I marked down there and drew, okay? And then straight line from the top to there. Okay, just make sure I got you in here, sorry about this. That's it. Okay, and then I used just my orbital sander to draw round, and that meets in with the top of my proposed arch. And then I've drawn in pencil so I can visually look at it, because you don't want to make a mistake. So same on both sides, it's dead at the correct height, so when it rains now it runs off and runs down, and obviously it will be protected, and then it runs down, okay? This is just the template. So then if you stand back, it's always good to visually look, because measurements and aesthetics are different. If you look there, I think it looks perfect. Shading it in, you can just visualise it. I think it's looking going to look good with Mark had an old gate like this, and I'm going to angle grind some bits off, hammerite them black, and put them in there. So yeah, I like it. That's the next step, and then get the tongue and groove in. So I'm going to start sanding the archway now, and then start cutting it out, get the rails out, make a mess. So here I'm cutting the archway with a jigsaw. I'm cutting it a rough cut, so not too close to the finished edge, because then I'll overlay it with the OSB and use a router to get the final dimensions. So here I'm taking the excess glue off, and then I'm filling the seam with glue and sawdust to create a filler. And here I am cutting the top of the rails to create a drip edge for the water to run off, and I make sure I get some good wood preserver etc into it, because it's upright and facing the weather. So on to the cross brace. Lots of people get this wrong. Proper DIY do a good video on this. There's lots of information on YouTube, but basically I'm hanging the hinges on the right hand side, so I want the brace to be on the left hand side in compression, so it's keeping the frame strong and stopping that twisting. When you see gates that have the bottom trailing, not the hinge side, the latch side, where over the years people have either stood on it or it's the compression all the way is away from the hinge. So the cross brace, you can see me marking it now. I'm marking it from underneath to get it exactly into both corners, and then I'm going to cut it and join it with pocket hole screws, and I'm going to use my chop saw to cut it. This is a piece of 4x1 that I purchased from Worx. So I'm using my chop saw to cut the cross brace. The cross brace is in 2 sections, so it's quite easy to use your chop saw and cut it dead straight. Hello, so I'm now using the pocket holes with the 25mm screws appropriate for softwood. Link is in the description below for all the items I've used with the Amazon affiliate links. So I'm using pocket hole joinery with the Kreg R3 jig. There's lots of videos about this, so I won't do one at the moment, but you can just look online and there's so many. Kreg R3 pocket hole, absolutely amazing for doing joints that don't go into end grain. What a beautiful day. So here you can see me using the Kreg special drill bit, which you adjust the collar to create the correct depth, and a standard clamp and the Kreg R3 jig. So I'm drilling the 2 holes, and then I'm going to be gluing and screwing them into the stiles to create the strong
cross-sectional area for the gate.
Just do them up hand tight, because you can torque your screwdriver with soft wood into a slightly harder wood, 4x2, and a real soft. So do them up sort of with a low torque setting on your drill, and then finish off by hand, and you know you're not going to split them.
And this is me demonstrating how to do up the Kreg R3 screws without splitting them.
Got the first one cut, use that as a template on the chop saw. For the other, I need 5. I'm centering it in the middle, a bit like tiling, and then I'll have the 2 cut ends on the outside. And wood expands widthways, not really long ways. It's a soft wood, it's summer, so I've cut it slightly short either end to allow for expansion. Long ways, don't need a lot. Widthways, I'll butt the tongue up to the groove. Okay, mark it with a pencil and pull it back about 5mm. That means in the winter it's going to expand out, but we're giving it room for a bit more expansion and contraction without it showing the reveal, if that makes sense. So I'll do that now, and then I'm going to do nail gun then with my 18-inch brad nailer with galvanised nails for outside.
So I'm using a square and a pencil to mark the 7mm I need to cut off the edge of the tongue and groove so it will fit correctly into the gate. So I'm using a 1/4-inch router, palm router, with a straight cut bit with a bearing, which I'm running along the board on top to cut the excess off the tongue and groove to fit on the left hand side of the gate.
So 5 boards, all equal space like you would tiling. 7mm off of that end, 7 off this end. 18 gauge nailer with galvanised pins.
Always use external screws or galvanised for external use, otherwise their life will be very limited.
Obviously you need galvanised or stainless steel for external, plus pressure treated wood will eat into normal pins, screws, whatever. So I've used all external grade stuff on this. A lot of people who make fences won't do that. What I'm doing, it's summertime, so I'm allowing this will expand over the winter, so I've created an inlet there, I've grooved out one here, and I'm not going to butt these right up, I'm not going to glue them, not going to put loads of pins in them, and I'm going to leave a gap, so I'm not pushing this right up to the groove. I've spaced it out so we've got like 2mm in between each one to allow for the expansion and contraction on the width. The length, it won't expand and contract.
So I'm using my lovely Worx 18 gauge brad nailer and stapler. I'm using galvanised staples, and as previously mentioned, I'm not going to overdo it because we need to allow this to expand and contract. So this is me using my mini router to cut the against the template with a special router bit with a bearing. This did not work in the end. It looked okay, but I wasn't happy, so a bit later in the video I'll show you how I used it with my 1/2-inch router and a double bearing straight cut bit. Well, that's all folks. Look out for the final episode, episode 3, where you will see me staining the gate, fitting the gate of the customers, putting the ironwork in, putting the ironmongery on. Links for all the stuff I've used in this video, the Amazon links are in the description below. Please comment, like, subscribe, as I'll be making loads more beautiful videos like this. Thank you.